Conor McGregor is back in the headlines, though his opponent for the highly anticipated White House event remains unconfirmed. While his participation isn't finalized, speculation about him fighting continues unabated. Some argue his presence is essential for the card, while others believe it can proceed without him. Regardless, McGregor is undeniably the center of ongoing conversation.
As we know, Conor McGregor, who recently got married, who's kind of had a transformation. He went down to Peru or somewhere and he did ayahuasca and he went on a spiritual journey. He's a changed man, he's born again.
And I'm saved, I am healed.
Hey, fair play to the guy. Fair play to the guy. And I tell you what, when you do see clips of him online, he does look healthier, he does look less puffy, and you do see clips of him out there training. So the man's getting ready for something. And a lot of people, because obviously I have a podcast and we'll be back on Monday, by the way, me and Felder, so tune in for that. A lot of people are like, yeah, McGregor's done. Listen, a lot can change. The man's still only, I think he's 37 years old, okay? So he's not like he's that old yet. Yeah, he's at the tail end of his career. Even though, like Mike Tyson, he said he wants to do this for the rest of his life. He's at the tail end of his career. But 3 years, 4 years away, right? A lot can change if you lock in, if you get disciplined, if you get rid of all the bad habits, if you abandon all the yes men, if you get rid of all the distractions and you get in the gym. It's not unthinkable to think that Conor McGregor could get just somewhere near the form that he had when he made his rise.
Dana White views this event as a potentially historic opportunity for the UFC. He emphasized that even after hosting monumental shows like UFC 200, the White House location imbues this event with a unique significance. White underlined that serious logistical hurdles mean nothing is set in stone, and efforts to finalize the event are still underway.
I think, Dana White said it best, back then. Not only was I burning some premium jet fuel, but I was too much man for Conor, too big, what is he gonna do, outstrike me? I think I would have been like a bad style for him. They probably wanted easier fights from him at that time. Someone where he could get his air beneath his sails, because it wasn't gonna be me. And I still think to this day, Conor knows it. He don't like that fight. She'll talk about everybody else but me, because he knows I'll snipe his ass quick. That little lucky left shit he does ain't gonna work with me, a premium striker, brother. I'm gonna see that shit a mile away and slap him in the face. So I don't think for his brand it ever would have been good. I'm gonna beat the fucking dog shit out of him, straight up stand-up style.
Are you surprised?
None of that grappling. I'm just gonna get in your face, knee your ribs, elbow your fucking face. It's gonna be a fight, man.
He then elaborated on the profound impact this could have on the fighters themselves. Many have never even visited the White House, let alone competed there. This unparalleled setting, Dana believes, elevates the experience, making it a pivotal part of a fighter's legacy. Staging a sport in such a prestigious location generates interest far beyond the typical fan base.
I apologize, you'll probably remember who it was, where you talked about the Chandler-Conor McGregor fight, and you're like, that's old news. Chandler comes out and says he's going to keep optimism about it. You, to be completely transparent at this point, as much as you want to be at least, how empty slate is that card? Or do you already have in your head what you're hoping to happen, and then you just kind of got to make it happen? Like where are you in the development of the card? Because I know that's a massive ordeal for all parties.
So my entire focus right now is on the launch this weekend. I got boxing on Friday, the UFC on Saturday. Sunday, I'm watching the Patriots go to the Super Bowl.
Hell yeah.
And then Monday, we're all in on the White House fight. We don't have anything laid out. Nothing. It'll all start Monday.
Okay, all right.
And no disrespect to Chandler. We love Chandler. Chandler's one of the... you don't have enough time in your show for me to talk to you about how awesome Chandler is. And you know how I feel about Conor and everything that he's done for the sport and this company. But yeah, that's not the fight we're going for.
While Dana White didn't explicitly discuss Conor, other UFC experts certainly did. Chael Sonnen, for instance, spoke about McGregor, making it clear that a fight deal was far from imminent. Instead, he described a complex situation with multiple narratives unfolding simultaneously. Chael stated that nothing appears fixed, with each potential scenario depending on prior events. This is clearly not a conventional comeback story. It's a convoluted situation, and Chael warned against trying to predict its outcome, illustrating the profound uncertainty by outlining various possibilities.
Well, we're going to figure that all out this week, but when you look at, this is like a one-of-one event. It's something that will never happen again. And we building this card, we have this video rendering of what it looks like. We literally have the trees that are in the, the south lawn. We'll know exactly where the sun is until it sets. So all the logistics are done. And now it's time we believe that this is going to be the most watched UFC event ever.
I mean, you've had UFC 200, 300, 100, the Sphere. To say that this card is going to top all of those, be bigger, more important, those are some big words right there. Do you believe this could be the type of event that almost kickstarts, maybe similar to what happened coming out of COVID, that maybe kickstarts a new era of fandom for this sport?
Yeah, it's going to introduce a lot of people.
Sonnen also highlighted the common misconception that fighters possess more inside information than they actually do. He admitted to falling into this trap himself, noting that fans often assume close associates like Michael Chandler would automatically know McGregor's plans. Chael refuted this, explaining that fighters frequently learn about their own future through public reports and headlines, just like fans. This detail is crucial, suggesting that talks around Conor's return may not be as advanced as many believe.
To it that have never seen it before. And when you talk about like me, my executive team, the staff that works here, the media that covers us, and the fighters, this is going to be the most unique, amazing, night of our entire careers. So, the fighters are walking from the Oval Office, and I bet a lot of the people that cover the sport and are fans of the sport have probably never even been to the White House before, and obviously the fighters. So this is a really special one-of-one night. And when we go to do something, I like to deliver, and I like to deliver big. So we are, it's going to be special. And now this
exciting
week,
times.
yeah, actually, fly in he lives in Texas, so he's coming in, and gonna have him here for a few days, and we're gonna start hammering out this card.
Ariel Helwani similarly expressed doubts regarding both the Conor McGregor situation and the UFC White House card. He drew a parallel to 2020 when McGregor threatened retirement over unfavorable terms, specifically wanting to fight but being benched without an audience. Helwani used this to underscore that Conor will only compete if the conditions are right. He also addressed the financial dynamics of the White House card. McGregor is the sport's biggest pay-per-view draw, but a non-PPV event presents a vastly different financial landscape.
Now, I'm not predicting that for you. When we do talk about the White House, we've got every level of crazy at play here. We've got Conor McGregor returning. We've got Conor McGregor returning for a title fight. We've got Conor McGregor returning in a weight class that doesn't yet exist. We've got Conor McGregor returning. The only problem is he needs a call from Ari Emanuel. We got Conor McGregor returning. The only problem is Conor McGregor is not under contract with the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Like, everything about this has gotten weird. We got John Jones versus Piera. Biggest fight in the history of humanity. John Jones needs a hip replacement. John Jones is going to play flag football as opposed to fight at the White House. Like, we're in this spot. We're in like this Wild West in terms of predictions. And I do think that Ilia Topuria versus Islam is the biggest fight that we could make for the most part. There's a broad stroke on that, right? Jones versus Pierre. If we're just having fun, fights that we could make. Jones versus Aspinall, Pierre versus Aspinall. Like, if we've got this.
Pesci Carroll highlighted the critical aspect of leverage. He noted that Conor occupies a unique position among fighters, commanding unparalleled attention. This star power grants him significant leverage to demand specific terms, particularly as the UFC's business model potentially shifts away from pay-per-view. If McGregor feels the existing model no longer benefits him, Carroll believes he could push back or even refuse to fight. Interestingly, he also suggested the UFC's evolving business model means it no longer needs Conor as desperately as it once did.
Magic wand, but in the scope of being realistic, I do not think that you're going to get Islam versus Ilia at 155, and more importantly, if Ilia and Islam do fight, when that day comes, I think it should be at 170, because a big piece of the story is champ status, and the only way you preserve that opportunity is for Ilia to go up. Islam also came out early on, before he had fought with Jack, captured the 170-pound title. And he said, I'm going to do both. I'm going to grab the belt at 70. I'm going to come right back to 55. I'm going to fight at both. As soon as he made 170 and he felt that was life, to have the same experience without the torture of pulling off those extra 15 pounds, he came out and said, no, I'm never going back. I believe him. That sounds right. But Chandler appeared to not know. He appears to be very open. And one mistake that I have made a number of times in this sport is to think that the athletes know, but they're keeping a secret. Well, Chandler knows what's going on. Chandler knows whether he's fighting Conor. But Chandler and Conor are going to preserve this and reveal it to the media when they're ready. Time after time, that just turns out to not be the case. The guys just genuinely don't know.
From the White House event's perspective, Pesci conjectured that McGregor might not be on the card, not due to fan disinterest, but because the financial terms may not align with his expectations. Should the UFC's offer fall short of Conor's valuation, he might simply walk away. Pesci's key point is that this endeavor involves much more than merely slotting a fighter onto a card.
It's about to get really interesting with Conor McGregor in the UFC. It's about to get really interesting, and it's starting to feel like pandemic 2020 vibes. And what I mean by that is, do you remember there was a time, I remember Amanda Nunes fought Felicia Spencer, and I remember he was going off on Twitter. He was talking about F this, I'm gonna retire, all this stuff. And I remember he called me and I wrote a whole article for ESPN.com. He retired in 2020 because they wouldn't give him a fight. And they wouldn't give him a fight until they could have some kind of attendance. And that attendance came 2021 in Abu Dhabi, January of 2021 against Dustin Poirier, if you remember. They didn't want to have him at the Apex in front of no one. And so I remind you, when that White House card comes around, June 14th, there will be no pay-per-view. There will be no gate. And what I'm hearing is there's going to be no sponsors as well. So it's going to be it's going to be gigantic as far as brand awareness and whatnot. But as far as sponsors on the cage, it's not going to be like that because White House and you know, it gets a little tricky with.
Michael Bisping shed light on why the idea of a Jorge Masvidal versus Conor fight has resurfaced. With Michael Chandler seemingly out of the picture and Dana White having rejected other options, the decision for a new opponent was swift. Bisping agreed that if McGregor is on the White House card, it necessitates a big, recognizable, and easily marketable name. Jorge, he concluded, fits this description better than anyone else.
One person whose comments on all of this fighter pay stuff that I care about, and that's Conor McGregor. Well, there's two people. There's Dana White and there's Conor McGregor. And the reason I care about Conor McGregor's thoughts on this is because he's the only one with leverage. When he talks about on a Roblox stream, my contract is null and void, he's the only one with the ability to go, no, you actually do need to pay me a different amount because I'm the only one who actually sells pay-per-views. Pay-per-views were down bad last year. I can't imagine there were many champions who were making a ton of money by selling pay-per-views. The UFC obviously wasn't making a ton of money by selling pay-per-views and has pivoted away from that model. And so there's nobody out there who's really going to be too hard done if all of a sudden the UFC is like, we're moving away from pay-per-view. There's going to be some extra money and not ask about it ever again, right? Volk was on talking to you and he kind of didn't know what's going on, but is Volk really going to be the one to rock the boat and do it? There's only one person who stands to benefit in a major way from pay-per-views in 2026 or previously in 2025, and that's Conor McGregor.
Bisping meticulously detailed why Jorge is an excellent fit from both a stylistic and political standpoint. Masvidal boasts a storied career, instantly memorable moments, and a personality perfectly suited for such a grand stage. Furthermore, he's accustomed to high-attention environments and has performed in major moments before. Bisping firmly believes the White House card prioritizes spectacle over strict credentials, and Jorge remarkably fulfills more criteria in that regard than most other names being considered.
So when Conor McGregor comes out and says, I need to renegotiate my deal because this is now null and void, that's the only one that's going to have any waves, ripples, anything. There is a realistic scenario where upcoming, when it comes to the White House, Conor McGregor is the one that says no, right? We're acting like it's just going to be the Dana White's going to be like, do I trust Conor McGregor? What if they come to Conor McGregor with a number that's not sufficiently offset?
Oh, yeah.
Because this pay-per-view is not in place anymore, and he says, take a hike. I'm not fighting for that. I never fought for that. I stand to make so much more money than that, and you're trying to... And we're also in a scenario where the UFC might not need Conor McGregor as much as they used to, which is an even more fascinating thing, right? Because pay-per-view doesn't exist, do you necessarily need somebody like Conor McGregor as much as you needed him when you need...
Michael Chandler also weighed in, discussing how his unresolved animosity with Conor from their time on The Ultimate Fighter remains an open chapter, never settled in the octagon. However, when addressing Conor's recent mindset and experiences, Chandler spoke about the immense pressure of fame and how reaching the pinnacle can prompt a reevaluation of everything. Chandler believes Conor is on the right path to regain maintain his competitive purpose, aiming to fight him on the grandest stage possible, the White House. So for now, that's the situation. No opponent is confirmed, no fight is signed, and the White House card remains wide open. But Conor McGregor isn't idly waiting for announcements. He's actively in the gym, putting in the work, sparring and training as if the moment is imminent. While fans, fighters, and media all speculate on his potential adversary, Conor is preparing as if he's ready for anyone. Until the UFC makes it official, everything remains pure speculation.